Hello, I'm Dean Karstens, and welcome to Dean's N-Scale Trains. Today I'm going to show my second video on the construction of the Scenic Ridge Railroad. In the second video of my series, we'll talk about laying track and roadbed and wiring the track to the power supply. But first we have to cover all the foam risers with plaster cloth. Cut squares of the plaster cloth such that they overlay the supports by an inch or two on each side. Hold them by the edge and place them in the water for a second or two. Bring them out and lay them down with the bumpy side up. Smooth them out with your fingers. In this way, continue all around the railroad until all the supports are covered. Butt the edges together, but don't overlap them. Cut the cloth such that they fit as close as possible. Continue until the entire layout supports are covered with the cloth. Now we will need to cover the overpass that's going to be inside the tunnel. Cut two strips of wood, thin strips of wood, and with two rubber bands, place them as shown here. Enlarge the slots where the rubber bands go in. These strips of wood will be used to help us cut the slots accurately. Cut some 1/4 inch board with using a straight edge and the cutter, and then cut the slots holding the cutter against the wooden support, the wooden strips. In this way you'll get very, very accurate slots. Use the piece of 1/4 inch foam to figure out where you want your slots, where you want your the slots to end. When you are happy with how the board fits, glue each side down with hot glue gun and glue, and use a straight edge to make sure it's nice and flat. When all the track areas are covered with the plaster cloth and the cloth is dry, sand everything down smooth. I use a power sander for that. The first thing to do is to carefully lay out the track on the risers, following the diagram and the instructions. You may have to add a few extra short pieces here and there to get everything to come out right. Carefully mark with a pencil where the roadbed is going to go. Then using foam tack glue, put down a line I should say, of the glue. Take the roadbed, move it around a little bit to spread the glue, and line it up. After the roadbed is dry, we can lay down sections of track. Again, use the tack glue. Put on a layer or another line where we want to run the track. Take a short piece of the roadbed and use that to spread the glue. As you install the section of track, Be sure to run your fingers along the rail to make sure that the connectors are correctly installed. This is important. Use a level or a straight edge to line up straight sections of track. Continue laying all the track and roadbed until it's complete. Now, what happens if a rail joiner is installed incorrectly?
I've got a rail joiner that goes under the tie rather than correctly connecting it. This is what you do. Using some nippers, you cut back 2 ties, slip it in, put the razor blade there to protect the rail, and squeeze until it makes a clicking sound and it cuts through that. I've cut both sides. There you can see that those 2 ties are not connected anymore. So I'm pushing back the rail joiner till it's below, till it's up, and then just slide the rail joiner back. It's nice and smooth and nice and done. And we just push those ties back where they belong. And that's it.
Here's my wiring map for my layout. As you can see, I've got 12 sets of wires going to various locations on the layout.
Just make a little droplet. This is what I use to strip the wire. Pull off a couple of lengths. Put it into the 22 gauge slot and pull it. And there you are, perfectly stripped wire. And another one. So I put a little bend in it. Hold it till it sets. and test it. Put a little bit more solder on that one. When it cools, test it to make sure it's nice and solid, and then you can pull them off and put them on the track where you want them. Here's an example of the leads that have been put in place. The little circle, the black circle, indicates to me where I put it. If you look very carefully, you can see the blue wire there coming down between the tracks. When I balance, it'll be covered up. Okay, so now we have all of our wires coming in from the track. Here they are, the red and the black, sort of a blue and a brownish. They all come into the same place. As I said, there's 12 leads coming from various places on the track, all coming into the same place. How do we connect them? Well, this is what I use. This is what's called a solderless breadboard. This little white thing. You can buy them for around about $1 on Amazon. What they are is a series of pin connectors. These 5 are together, these 5 are together, these 5 are together, and so on. There's 17 down here in this particular size. These 5 are connected, these 5 are connected. The ones on this side are not connected to any on this side. So all we have to do is connect a dozen of these together, and then we can put our wires in there. For that, I use a piece of what's called a male header pin. These also are available from Amazon. I'll put the references down in the write-up. You can break these off to any size you want. They stick right into the holes. Take a wire, wrap it around, and here you see one side soldered, the other lead on the other side soldered. All the red wires come in together. All the black and the blue wires, the red and the brown wires come together. The black and the brown ones come together, and you have a nice simple assembly that you can change if you have to. This wire that connects to these two series of pins plugs into my Bachmann Easy Command DCC control system for running the trains.
So that's it for today. My next video in this series is going to be on switches and switch motors. If you like this series, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for watching.